For me, I was a pastor of a church that was growing pretty quickly. Through the eyes of those around me, it was successful. I was reading through 1 Corinthians. I got to 1 Corinthians 14:26. It says, brothers, when you gather together, each one of you has a hymn, a song, a tongue, interpretation, a teaching, all for the building up. I felt the weight depended so much on me for church to happen. And I'm reading the Bible, that just doesn't seem to be the way it is. The weight seems to be shared among many. But I think what ends up happening is you become part of this system that takes so much to maintain.
You're trying to keep certain things alive, and you're trying to do all these sorts of works and keep them all knit together all perfectly, and
preparing for Sunday so that Sunday hits a grand slam every week and keeps people excited.
And Sunday comes, 7 days, and then another 7 days, another 7 days, right? It's always before you. I think then you start feeling the weight of your value being judged on what you produce and how well you produce it.
It almost becomes a distraction, and we lose sight of the God that those things are meant for, that love for Jesus. And you want to see people grow in those ways, but they're not growing because they're distracted by the stuff.
I think a lot of pastors, they enter into this up here, and then all of a sudden it kind of takes this turn into this land that they didn't expect.
And they're just not seeing what they set out to do. You have that feeling, we're missing the mark.
You know in your heart, there's more to it than this.
That's where the wrestling was for me. Is this truly what it's about?
Pastor to Pioneer is for any pastor that has a stirring in their heart. Those pastors that are feeling burned out and weary and tired and feeling the weight of the way that they're doing is just crushing them, and wondering, do I have to leave ministry altogether, or is there perhaps another way?
It's not all on you. It doesn't all fall on your shoulders.
The place that we want to get you to is actually back to your first love. To be a disciple of Jesus who makes disciples, who helps them make disciples, and then all those other things just kind of fade away in the background.
What we're seeing a draw towards is something that's going to look much more like a word that we use frequently is decentralized.
Movements that are happening around the world that look a lot like the book of Acts.
It isn't based on a complicated machine that takes a lot of energy and resources to maintain, but a simplicity where we look and operate much more like a family than we do a business.
The things that you've heard me say in the presence of many witnesses, entrust to reliable men who will be able to teach others also. We don't want to just multiply ideas and tools. We want to multiply the relationship. And that's kind of what the coach is, in the same way that Paul had Timothy, and Elijah had Elisha, and Jesus had Peter and James and John. And these aren't just every other week getting coffee for 45 minutes. This is an investment in a life. If you're going to step into disciple multiplying work, where you want to see disciples made who make disciples, you're going to be pioneering probably 99% of the time where you are.
People will misunderstand what you're doing. People will be confused by it. You yourself might not even fully know what it's looking like.
If I'm going to leave formal church pastoral ministry and do something else, how am I even going to make a living? How am I going to pay the bills? What does this mean for my wife? What does this mean for my kids, my family? Is God actually calling me to do this?
So the aspect of just relationship and walking this journey is huge.
And the training is a key component to go through on the pathway, but really you're entering into a relationship with other people who are on the same journey.
There's a community of people, there's people that want to walk with you to explore something different, a real safe place to ask those questions.
It's not like, oh, we got all this figured out, but I think it's for those who are willing to explore.